Alan Kohler has just written an excellent quarterly essay on the property market on housing. It's an 86-pager, so Kim Wingaray has broken it down for us, and we're just going to hit a couple of the major points today. You've got to check out this chart. Pretty much says it all. We'll publish that in a tick. But Kohler starts, he goes back to his own parents' day. It's all about affordability. He says they bought a piece of land in South Oakley outside Melbourne for £1,000 in 1951. The house cost them another £1,250, all up roughly $121,000 in today's money. To quote him, he describes, "Dad built the house himself, including making the bricks, working on weekends and at night, and Mum and Dad lived in a garage." The point he makes is that the cost of the house would have been approximately 3.5 times the Kohler's median income back in the day. And that ratio hasn't changed all that much. When Alan and his wife bought their first house in 1981 for around $40,000 or $215,000 in 2024 money. That ratio stayed steady for another 20 years. Fast forward to August 2023. The median Australian house price was $732,886, 7.4 times the annual average weekly earnings. From 3.5 times the median income to 7.4 times it had more than doubled. That is the housing crisis in a nutshell. And the flow through, of course, to the poor renters who are in serious crisis at the moment as rental payments have soared. And it all started changing at the beginning of this millennium. If you check out this chart, it's quite stark. Australian homes have simply become too expensive for society to work normally, says Kohler. You can see this chart, average weekly earnings and house prices just took off around 2000. So what happened? Well, it's interesting that in 1999, CGT relief or capital gains tax relief came in, meaning you didn't have to pay tax on selling the family home anymore. And so it is that we have chronicled this previously on a number of occasions, a mansion flipping epidemic. Fueled by Chinese money, not all Chinese, but most of it. Top Chinese buyers are taking private jets to Melbourne to purchase luxury mansions in the city's most expensive suburb. An Australian buyer's agent reveals, sending house prices in the leafier suburbs and the ripple effect elsewhere through the roof. People make multi-million-dollar profits by flipping their houses tax-free. Not employing anyone apart from some contractors to do renovations. It's pretty much a bit of a rort, but it's legal. $20 million profits some of these people are making and not paying any tax. The influx of Chinese money is partly to blame for this because the government's dithered for 16 years on anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing reforms, laws which they said they would bring in 2007, which would capture accountants, lawyers, and real estate people, property developers, and so forth. And so it is that we have this massive money laundering of foreign money in the Australian housing market. They did something about it in Vancouver, in Canada, and it brought property price relief. Kohler also goes into the failure of local and state governments planning, goes into the failure of governments to supply proper infrastructure, fast trains so people can get in from the satellite suburbs. He also identifies CGT and negative gearing, of course, with people owning up to, any number of properties and getting tax relief subsidies for that. Property has become a commodity, an investment, culturally, not just a place to live. Australians have become fixated with property prices. And of course, there's been a policy rot for so long because the people that are running the show, the wealthy people and the politicians, have plenty of properties. They benefit personally, financially, which makes them more reticent to introduce any significant reforms to make Australia a more equal society in which to live. We had a quick run through the politicians' personal interest register and found that our cherished elected representatives own a lot of property, not just their homes. Not counting their homes, 126 of Canberra's 232 MPs and senators own almost 300 properties between them. Ballooning inequality is the result. And if Kohler's right, it will take years and political determination to overcome this, to address this. It can't be changed overnight. The good news is that there are answers, and we've identified plenty of these. Just bring in the AML reform. Stop the foreign money pushing up prices. You could do a Singapore and lift the stamp duty past 50% on properties. At least there'd be some more money coming into the national coffers to address inequality. And we published Tim Evans last year on a number of occasions with an essay on how to fix the Airbnb rort, which is forcing up rental prices in regional Australia. Simply stop allowing landlords to claim 100% tax deductions for 100% of the year for properties they might let out for only a fraction of the year. The fixes are there, but the politicians as a class, they own a lot of property. So there's a conflict, but it will have to be addressed because inequality is on the rise. Homelessness, indeed, is on the rise. Do we really want to live in a society of haves and have-nots where there's people begging? No, we don't. We want to live in a happy, fair society. Thank you for your support. We're going to keep punching on. Appreciate it. Please like, share, comment in the section below. Throw us a few bucks if you can on Patreon.